Kath from SCUM, and today I'm here at our Superbowl network, and 2024 is SCUM's 20th year. Isn't that amazing? I'm very, very pleased to say that here with me today is this gentleman, Pat Pavlich, who was the founder of SCUM. He and another gentleman,
Rick, yep,
started this whole amazing club 20 years ago this year. And what's also special is the current president of SCUM, Nick Smee, is also with us. So today we're going to have a bit of a chat about SCUM, how it got started, and do a little bit of a review on the 20 years that has been. So Pat, first burning question.
Yes.
How did SCUM get started? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, well, we were mainly a bunch of downhillers that enjoyed riding and realised that we had such an amazing canvas of bushland in Nowra. We used to ride to work out of the base every day and go through the bush, and we started building some trails. And then we decided, well, we were members of Cork, a few of us in Canberra.
Right, yeah.
And then we became members of Wollongong Mountain Bike Club because it was closer, and they were a more downhill specific club. So they actually asked us to, if we could build a downhill track down here, because they didn't have any land down there on their behalf. And that's where we started the funnel web down at Wandine. And during the course of that, building that trail, one of the guys there, Triff his name was, I actually rode with him here yesterday, said, well, why are we doing this for them? Why don't we start our own club? Nowra's itching for a club for mountain biking, and that's how it started.
So, your first track, what was it?
Koondu. Koondu was our first track.
Right.
We used little bits of trail that was already in there, little bits of sneaking track, and we decided to build that first. And we weren't yet affiliated with Mountain Biking Australia. We were just a group of like-minded people that wanted to ride. And it was actually Shane from Bikes at the Basin, who just moved down from Sydney, opened up his shop, and he said, look, the only way to get a club going properly is you've got to start having events. If you want to have events, you have to be affiliated with MTBA. And that's when we got affiliated with MTBA.
So, Koondu, then came
Butterfly,
Superbowl.
we used to drive past this amazing big bowl on our way to Butterfly and went, we've got to do something with this. We have to do something with this. And yeah, that arose. Obviously we had a very limited group of people that were get out and make trails, so we were hampered with time and the types of trails and how big the network was. But as I was saying to Nick earlier, Butterfly had just gone through a bushfire. We had bushfires right through here. It was just a black canvas, black dirt and dead trees. So we just started scraping a rake through open land. It was great.
Funnel web, a track that no longer exists, but was once a very strong and mighty trail for SCUM. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of funnel web?
Well, that was the first one that we built, and it was actually about the third attempt of where we were going to place this trail, because the thing with downhill trails is we start at the top. We used to start at the top and start looking for a good trail, and then we'd reach a creek or something we couldn't cross. So we had to think about it and thought, well, let's start where we want the bottom of the trail. And we used to use topo maps, didn't have Google and that sort of stuff back then. So we had these big topo maps out, and we looked for the good bars that would be a good climb, a good drop. And we started at the bottom, and we just started making our way up, and finally found a trail that got us to an area where we could shuttle to, because that's a big thing with downhill. You have to have bottom and top access, shuttle access. And yeah, that's how that one started.
Pat, can you tell us a little bit about the first events that SCUM held?
The very first cross-country event we had was, as I said, the end of 2004 at Koondu. We put up flyers, because that's what we used to do, and I think we had our website then. I'm not 100% sure. We had 29 riders.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's two of those riders that were at that event have gone on to become Australian level riders.
Amazing.
Brendan Johnston and another guy, Sean Beckers, who used to be a trek rider as well.
Yep.
But we had another guy, Dean, God, I can't remember Dean's second name, but he turned up to our first race in an Australian kit, an Australian cycling kit, and he'd just been over in Europe doing the junior worlds over there. So everyone sort of thought, who's this? But
did he win?
no, he didn't. He didn't. But he was an amazing downhiller, so he ended up joining us in downhilling and doing a lot of that stuff as well.
Pat, look, I have to ask. We love the name SCUM. We always say, I always say it's Kath from South Coast United Mountain Bikers, affectionately known as SCUM, and the feedback I consistently get is, oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. But tell us, who named SCUM? Who came up with the name? And tell us a little bit about the logo. Where did this come from?
Okay, so the name was actually coined by Rick Dew, the other co-founder with me. We used to work together in a sheet metal area out at Albatross, and we were throwing it back and forth because being members of Cork, it was so easy to say a one-syllable, oh, we're Cork and we're doing this, you know. Then we joined Wollongong Mountain Bike Club, and there was no couldn't say it, so we wanted something that could be a catchy thing, and South Coast, we tried Nowra, and Nork didn't turn out too good, so we were thinking of that because of Cork, off-road cyclists. And Rick just blurted it out, what about South Coast United Mountain Bikers? And I went, SCUM? Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, wow. It works so well.
Yeah, it was good.
And it's held on for 20 years.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And I'm sure 20
love that.
more.
Yeah.
I'm sure 20 more.
And the logo?
Yes, the logo.
The actual rider in that is Nathan Rennie.
Right.
And I just traced that out of a magazine of Nathan Rennie, made a little graphic of it, and we used to put it in different places. And the rest of it came from another guy in the club, Nat Miller, and a friend of his who used to get into graphic arts, and she and he and I worked together on that, and that's what we come up with. We always wanted a chain ring on there. We always wanted a chain ring, you know, to signify, you know, mountain biking, and I think that works well. And all little SCUM bits in it and stuff, and the name around it. But yeah, that's how we got the logo. And I'm so pleased and honoured that it's maintained, you know, over the years with a lot of different people in different positions in the club. They didn't sort of go, oh, let's change to something else. I love it. I feel good about that.
Yeah, we love it, Pat, and it stood the test of time.
Yep.
And I have to say, you know, you see all the other mountain bike clubs' logos, and there's some beauties out there, but I reckon this one's, you know, pretty special.
Yeah, so do I, Kath. So do I.
So, Pat, from talking to you, I really recognise now that SCUM has been such a breeding ground, such a terrific breeding ground for so many Australian champions in mountain biking, both cross country and downhill. It's been pretty amazing.
It has, yeah.
Yeah. So, Pat, some of your most fond memories of being with SCUM?
Starting the club was obviously a big deal.
A huge deal.
A huge deal. The involvement from my family, 2 young children that used to come out and drag rakes and all that sort of stuff with my wife, and a few friends would come out and do that. That was that's a fond memory, a big fond memory. Having the races where we'd sell cans of drink and all that sort of stuff just to get some dollars so we could do something else. Again, hard work, but fond memories. Getting these trails recognised by Forest New South Wales. Russ was pivotal in that with me back in the day with the forestry people. We never thought we'd get funnel web through. They said, no, I don't think, we haven't even looked at your downhill track, but by the sounds of things, it's not going to happen. But it did. He was quite amazed with it, but the club didn't really embrace it because we didn't have a lot of downhillers, and it was very hard to run events and that sort of stuff. So that was a big thing, getting occupancy permits for our tracks from Forest. And I guess one of the big ones too that sticks with me, because it was pretty much just before I left this area and moved north, was our Decade of Dirt, our 10 years of SCUM, and you know, celebrating that, and just it was a wow moment for myself looking back at 10 years. God, that's been 10 years. And now this is 20 years. This is just, yeah, it's amazing. It's great.
Like 10 years, you must have been stoked at that.
Oh,
so to see the club
we would
still
never
going,
thought that, even thought about that. It was just a bunch of people that wanted to race and ride and build trails, and where the chips fall, let them fall where they may, you know. But yeah, it's been great. And that's because of the support of everybody that was within the club, and helpers and volunteers and committee members, and as you know, Kath, you know, it takes a lot of work and dedication, and you know, kudos go out to all those people that made it like that. You know?
Sure. I mean, it's, you know, you guys did some awesome hard work in those early days, that occupancy, getting the trails built, and yet the work continues, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, it's hard work running a mountain bike club, but it's so worthwhile. It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
So Pat, kind of like Butterfly, you took that initiative, but there was a follow through. Great time to get in there and lay out some new trails. I mean, it's unreal when you can actually see the terrain.
Yeah.
The club now, we kind of did the same thing with those horrible bushfires we had in 2019, 2020. That was a real kind of kick to get us going to initially redevelopment Koondoo, rebuild it totally. Everyone who's ridden there now loves the bit of an up, fresh it's had. It was always a brilliant course. And then we've moved on to Superbowl. Works have just finished here. You've been having a look at some of our new trails we've got in. So what do you think of the renewed Superbowl Koondoo Butterfly trails?
I'm absolutely blown away. I really am. I came and rode these Red Belly and Constrictor yesterday, and when I drove away from here, I've never had a smile on my face that big from riding mountain bike trails for a long time. It is just, they are professional. They're built fantastic. They are great. You know, I can't say any more than you've done such an amazing job. Thanks. To bring these up, and from living up the coast 4.5 hours away, people up there are talking about these new trails that they're looking at on socials, and they're coming down just to ride these.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not even with the new jump trails that are going to open at sometime soon. So that's a good indication of the level of trails that these are, because people see them and want to travel that distance to come and ride them.
We were lucky to get that bushfire recovery grant that let us get Keystone Trails in here.
Yep.
James Hall was the designer, Josh Button, Josh Green were the builders, all excellent riders, and yeah, what an unreal job they did.
Amazing. So big shout out to Keystone. Well done. And we're stoked, Pat, that you love them.
Oh.
We love them, but we're extra stoked that you love them.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Pat, thanks for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure.
My pleasure.
It's been really lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
And 20 years for SCUM. We're looking forward to 20 years more.
Oh.
Yeah.
I won't be around then, but yeah, it should be good. I'll come down here on my walker.
Let's hit the trail.